And intro. Good evening and welcome to Sunday's premiere best, unrivaled 9 p.m. Star Trek talk show with your host, myself, Richard, to my left, Dan, directly below me as always, James, and Carl. Hang on a minute. No, we're not. No.
Carl's dead. I've killed him.
For us, Tony, say, "Hey up, where's thy whippet?"
Hey up, where's that whippet?
What is Carl?
Ah,
Sorry,
yeah,
Carl, I didn't recognise you there. I do apologise.
Does Riker not get an introduction?
And yes, so this is your latest. This is a dog.
It is a dog.
Your latest dog.
Yeah,
That
it's
makes
not
it
a
sound like
cat.
he's a serial dog keeper.
It's wearing a bow tie. Is it going out to dinner?
This is Riker. Riker is now 17 weeks old, and he is half Labrador and half Collie.
Hang on, he's 17.
He's also the official Let's Talk Trek dog.
He's going to be like Marmaduke when he's grown up, because he's not. He's still growing.
Yeah, well, absolutely still going. I'm debating renaming him Clifford, to be honest.
Don't spray paint him red.
My dog's unconscious behind me at the moment, so. But that's the joys of ketamine addiction.
My dog's in a tin in the loft. Haven't got around to
Okay,
saying
that was
that yet.
And on that bombshell,
Oh, goodness me. Have we got so much Star Trek to talk about tonight? But first of all, as always, let's say hello to Christoph. What ho, chap? How you doing, buddy? Gary, how you doing, buddy? Victoria, hello, my darling. Angela Christine's 4 p.m. here. Well, with the premiere, well, so you must be on the East Coast. So with the premiere East Coast 4 p.m. Star Trek UK-based show. Christoph, wow, Five Guys. Hey, Ray, hope you're enjoying Ted Lasso. That's the best decision you made in your life, sir. What ho, Nadim? No, none here, Nadim. Sorry, we hang on. Are you one? No. Okay, none. Hey, Adam, how you doing, buddy? Hello, not Carl. How you doing, Mark? Virginia, USA. Are you? Oh, that's so sweet of you. We get a lot of international viewers, and as always, I'm absolutely thrilled when we find out that the people internationally watch the shows. It's marvelous. I think it's only because you like our quaint English accents. But if you've not watched the show before, and especially if you're coming internationally, please do come on and tell us your favourite character, your favourite series. We'd love to. Always like to do a bit of research.
Is it time for my Dick Van Dyke? Cool, blimey, Mary Poppins. What 2 and 8? There you go. That's how all cockers.
Hang on a minute. That wasn't Carl. Wait.
There's an imposter.
New Carl, could you say for me, hey up, where's thy whippet?
Hey up, where's thy whippet?
Carl. That's Carl.
Yes, it's spoiled.
If it was fake, Carl, it would have been, excuse me, where is thy whippet?
What ho, chaps? I'm from Harrogate, don't you know?
I would have got away with it if it wasn't for that meddling northerner.
The dealers pointed out, OMG, there's 5 of us.
Goodness gracious. Well, 6, including the dog.
There is enough to steal a Constellation Star cruiser now.
We're a bit like the, not so much the famous 5, more the infamous 5 now, because we've got a dog as well, so...
Maybe we're like Galaxy X class.
Sort of X-rated.
Infamous El Guapo.
Would you say, Carl, there are a plethora of us?
The tricky chaps,
Oh,
they are
yeah.
falling from the sky.
Oh, yeah. You have a plethora.
And James, what are you going to get me for my birthday?
It is a sweater!
It is a sweater. Yeah, I think either I've had too much to drink or Tony's put some Vaseline on.
No,
my
it's
hand.
basically for some reason my camera just does not autofocus. I'm just trying to get it to actually wake up.
Have you put Vaseline on it so you'd be in soft
Vaseline.
focus?
He had Vaseline on his fingers while he was
Basically, I have a deal in my contract that says I have to be in soft focus at all times.
Should we all raise our hands to our camera so Tony doesn't feel left out?
I don't know why it's actually
What's
doing
that?
I got no, this could go wrong.
Right.
How high was the stone?
Goodness me, Cole, you're swilling from a can as would a peasant. Have you got no glasses left in your pub?
We've drank everything, dear boy.
Get down to the Carlsberg.
No, we're on the old Strongbow this evening. That'll
Oh,
do.
great. You can use it to strip some paint afterward, can't you?
Interesting fact about Strongbow, if you have a pint of Strongbow in a pub, and Carl will know this, it's the one line that you don't have to clean. Because it's so acidic, you don't have to clean the line.
It gives me so much joy.
Think about next time you're drinking a pint of Strongbow, well, that's doing to the inside of you. It's
I
marvelous.
remember coming to Carl's pub and we helped you clean the lines by drinking all the beer that was in them,
helped them
didn't
clean
we?
all the lines. We cleaned the line of every barrel.
Absolutely. You were helping prevent loss and wastage.
I
'Cause
prevented
it
a
would
lot
have
of
been a terrible shame for all that Peroni to have just gone down the sink.
Right, we've been in the air for 7 minutes. We should probably talk about. I mean, we've got to get massive Star Trek news this week. So, if we start with the quick around the houses, we'll give it our marks out of 10. So we'll start with the special guest Tony. Out of 10, this week's Strange New Worlds season premiere.
It's a tough one because I want to say a high number, but my worry is this is the worst of the series, and then I'm going to look bad when I go, now it's 11 out of 10, now it's 12 out of 10. So, I mean, I think it was a solid 7 or an 8. The only thing I would say is there was a distinct lack of Anson Mount.
Right. Yeah. Well,
And that's
I've
what it's down. The hair needs to be in.
I do want to bring that up, James.
Well, as I said on our Maverick show on Friday evening, I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, and that stands, does it?
That stands, yeah. I can't go back on it now.
And Carl?
I'm gonna go with a solid 8. As much as I do partially agree with Tony there that there was a distinct lack of Anson Mount, but I think it was incredibly brave of them to take what's considered the main character away from the premiere episode of the season.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I like it.
And Dan?
I will be channeling my inner Michael Gove and abstaining from this vote.
You haven't seen it. Oh, fuck. As
The musical numbers are
you
really
and Andrew can go to,
Ramp.
well, look, this is kind of awkward because there are going to be spoilers tonight.
It's kind of difficult for us to be a Star Trek chat show if we're not allowed to talk about it.
You've had 3 days, people. 3 days. What have you been doing?
Has Dan just left the chat? Just
he's
to
had
make sure?
a dog to walk, to be fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Screw you all, I'm gone.
It's DS9 yet.
well, we can Dan, seriously, if you want to sit out for the first 10 minutes, then we'll let you know when to stop talking about it. We can do.
Or mute your computer, and then at some point, someone will do this, and then you'll know that you can turn it back on.
We'll do that then.
Andy, exactly what are you needing to steward within the caravan? I'm intrigued.
I can't say something here that's not going to sound like I'm being racist towards gypsies.
Anyway, so Strange New Worlds.
So, it wasn't great. It was okay. More of a filler episode than season.
Really?
Is it
No, I
possible to
disagree.
have, Tony, from the point of view of the writer, is it possible to have a filler episode as a season starter?
No, I get weirdly, I get where Nadim is coming from on this, because you expect it to come in with big, exciting bush explosions. We started with we ended the season last time with a. Hang on, Dan, you did see the end of season 1, right?
He's muted.
Oh,
He's
Dan
muted.
did. Okay, good. So I just wanted to check in case you didn't know. We ended it obviously with number one being arrested, big, exciting. Oh my God, what's going to happen next? You could either start immediately afterwards, like they did with, say, end of season 3 of Next Gen, or you basically go 6 months later kind of route. So you have one or the other. And to start it with big changes, they had things they had to fit. There was a whole load of storylines they had to end. You had to have Christina Chong's character come back, whose name Noonien Singh. She had to come back. So you had to find a way of bringing her back into that episode because she was the big cliffhanger at the end. Part of that was, I know that, the real world situation was with contracts and stuff. They didn't know when they finished season 1 who they could still have, if they could bring new people in. You had to bed in the new chief of engineering. You had to get all those sort of things out. There was a whole load of rank increases and bits and pieces that needed to be done. The only way you could do that if you were going full in was just to do them at the beginning or the end. So actually doing it like this was actually quite nice. You set the you set the stage for what's going to happen for the rest of the year. There's a big thing going on with the Klingons in the Federation. There's some kind of other thing happening. The Gords are coming back. I think what you might find next week is it'll be the other side of the coin. Next week will be a purely Pike episode where Pike is sorting out number 1. So that
I think it'll be where he finds this person had gone off to get.
This one was, if that makes sense.
I think for me, I think they managed it well because they are obviously going to try and squeeze a lot into this season. So they've managed to lay a lot of the groundwork while still making it entertaining for me. So I was very pleased with it overall. Sorry, I talked over you there, James.
I didn't say anything.
That's just as well because I talked over you. So it's.
I would also say I was very happy at the start of #Chapok.
What?
Well, it's like Brangelina. You got to have a Chapel and Spock.
Chapok. No, I tell you what,
Chapok doing that is not what happens, children. That's not some kind of Vulcan thing. But
that's more Squid do that. But the character of Spock that they've developed, I see a big future for him in the rest of the franchise.
I'm not sure. I think he's maybe a one-season wonder.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm quite. I mean, we could spend an hour dissecting this episode about, and that would be a shame because Dan wouldn't be able to. Well, he seems to be enjoying himself.
I'd say Riker's having a good time.
Yeah.
Actually, can I, as a writer, as we're talking earlier on, I've just noticed that Martin Benz made a comment where it says, sorry, poor Andrew Cooper's muted you guys for this bit and bloody captions came up.
Nice try, Andy.
But again, the Enterprise is the only ship in the quadrant. Lol. I think that was deliberate in the plot because the whole thing, as you realise later on, the admirals are deliberately trying to set this war going off. There's definitely connections going on. There's war on two fronts. There's other areas. I think you're going to find that there's reasons why the ships weren't there. I think the Gorn stuff is going to be the reason why the Enterprise really wasn't around at that time.
So, I mean, I'm around people that hopefully can give a bit more breadth of knowledge from the original series and the Gorn. That obviously I've seen the obvious episodes, but my knowledge is sketchy. Was there an official war with the Gorn that was canon from the original series?
No,
I don't think there was.
No, because you never saw the Gorn until Kirk meets him and does his tearing off.
Yeah,
a bit in a desert.
So I think you got your shirt off again.
So I think we're going to have. I think this is.
Did you notice the Galaxy Quest nod? Sorry to overtalk you, Richard. Did you notice the Galaxy Quest nod in that episode? Pedal to the metal.
I did. I heard it, and my brain went, "What?" But I wasn't thinking. Yep. But I do like. I like Spock's new catchphrase. I thought it was very, very on brand.
Make the ship go fast now.
You need to pause.
I wish the ship to go
now.
Sorry. Now. I think this is all a setup. This is going to be a way of the Federation trying to be better friends with the Klingons, to show a bit of muscle to stop a war happening with the Gorn. I think that might be the route that they're going down.
Well, it is interesting because this Strange New Worlds being set before Star Trek means that you've got to build to the point that we have in Star Trek, unless they're playing the Kelvin line, which some people are saying that there's that element of it's all multiple worlds and blah blah blah, and this is why
You should, in the words of William Shatner, never let canon get in the way of a good
yeah,
story.
exactly.
If you've got to change canon for a good story, I don't care. James actually will cry, but I don't care.
So I think I like the fact that they've brought the Klingons back in. I like the fact that they've made them more just like heavy metal, a biker gang, than actual proper military ones. I will say I did have one complaint in total.
Just one.
I love Carol Kane. I think she's one of the greatest underrated actors out there. I've loved her since Princess Bride.
Agreed.
She's a brilliant.
And yet she took the Tilly Award.
I just don't think she needed to play that voice.
Oh, it was awful, wasn't it? It was like fingers down a
She did
chalkboard.
a similar voice in Hunters, which was the big Amazon drama recently, where it was about in the 70s. It's people, just Jewish people who are hunting Nazis, and she plays this very overtly Jewish woman. I know she has that as a character, but she wasn't as bad in Kimmy Schmidt, so I know she can bring it down. But it just went a bit over the top.
No, she took the Tilly Award. It was
all I hope is that they're playing her as a novelty character to start with, and then something big's going to happen down the line.
The problem is, so again, I mean, we've talked about this on the show before, and I've always been fascinated by the writing process, and I've always assumed that back in the day they could do reactive writing a lot more than we get now, where you get a whole season and sometimes seasons film back to back, like they've done with Picard. You say this character needs to be toned down, but what we've seen is presumably what we're going to get for the whole season, because we don't get reactive writing anymore, do we? So this is going to be.
I think my biggest problem is with it is, I mean, as I said, I love Carol Kane. I think he's great. I loved the Andorian in season 1, but there's a bar, and it's not Scotty, it's Tig Notaro in Discovery. I thought her engineer was absolutely brilliant, and I would just watch an entire episode of her. And now Carol Kane's coming in, and I think you're going to have that. And I think she's effectively going to become the Guinan in a way, because she's been around for so long, and she knows everybody, and she's going to know all the stories and stuff. But I think they're going to have to lower it a little bit, or have the episode where she has something terrible happen in her past that comes back to life, where you get to see her show that she can actually act other characters. Otherwise, people will just get annoyed.
Or maybe she can just only pop up every now and again and say, "Yes, I've fixed it." That'll do.
What species was she meant to be? This very long-lived species that's hiding on Earth?
Not it. So this, sorry, but I did research this, but unfortunately I've forgotten the flipping name. But the answer is we've never heard of them. This is a brand new thing. So no.
But one thing I did absolutely love.
We should keep doing that for the entire show, by the way.
But no, this is one thing I really, really loved, was the fact they gave M'Benga a solid story.
Well, I'm absolutely delighted by that scene where he and the nurse took basically what seemed to me, because I've heard of what it does, it seemed to be cocaine. And it's turned them into these.
They took the Bane venom from Batman.
And they turned these superhuman. And there's blatantly a massive backstory that's going to open up about them being undercover espionage sections. I think it'd be Section 31. There'll be Section 31.
The point where she says, "Do you?" He goes, "When to use this?" And she's like, "You still carry it." And it's like all the time. It's like, wow, okay, there's something. Yeah. Because last season he had a kid that he kept sticking into stasis. Now he's going to have his weird Bane.
Now he's some sort of like Captain America super soldier serum that he carries around with him all the time.
I love it. I love the way that
finish beating you up, Klingons. I give you permission to die.
That's just absolutely I thought it was fantastic, and I think they're definitely be nailed on Section 31s. It's going to be marvellous.
Yeah, well, something like that, Linda. It definitely began with an L. They've got they have confirmed with Michelle Yeoh, haven't they? The Section 31 special that Paramount's going to do. They're not going to do a series. They're going to do a special movie, aren't they?
They are. But look, let's confuse Dan with this.
Would that happen to be by Von Klumpf?
Van Klomp, yes.
It's a painting of Safona Madonna with the big boobies by Van
That's
Klomp.
what I gave James for Christmas, and I did give it to him inside a sausage as well. It was the best Christmas present ever, wasn't it, James? Let's be honest. Do you know how difficult it was to get that inside the sausage? It was really, honestly.
That's why I've not put it back inside the sausage, because I can't.
Oh, there is a technique. Nurses use it to get rings off your finger. I'll show you.
Hey,
I'm
Richard,
not sure I like the way this conversation's going,
gentlemen.
gentlemen.
Out of your eye.
Sorry, do that again, James.
Do you know they've got a special tool in A&E to get super glue out of your eye?
I do. Don't ask me how I know that. Right, okay. I think... Does anyone want to say anything more about Strange New Worlds? Can we bring Dan back into the conversation?
Yeah, sorry.
Can we bring the audience in quickly before we
Somebody
do?
just said in the thing saying it's the same species as Flint, but it isn't, because she was Lantarian. He had a mutation of tissue regeneration, so that's why he was immortal.
Oh, Carl, as an admin, could you re-engage my permission so I can pull up the comments, because I haven't been able to for weeks.
Not this evening, but for next time, yes.
It's been unhelpful
Okay, right.
when it's only been Richard and me, and I couldn't do it.
I can imagine. Yeah, you just need to let me know in advance, James, and I can authorise that for you.
So are we happy for Dan to come back in? If
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I think
Well, we can all spoil it for him at once.
Well, if we gesture to him, as Vic and Bob used to do on Shooting Stars, like the dove from above, if we can call him down.
I feel like a lovely
He isn't paying the blindest bit of attention to us, is he? Oi, Mason!
Let's call it Best from the West.
And then I think it was still incredible that Spock died at the end. I mean, that was brave. Even Pep.
The fact that, and to be fair, she didn't even shed a tear.
I know, which is weird because I didn't expect.
I did.
Well, yeah, exactly. But at the same time, number one, they just had a run off with the engineer. So, oh, hello.
I just can't believe that the other one we can't mention ended up as a pile of dust. It was.
It ate
I
the
suspect that's the
entire.
last time we'll see the time-traveling space bunnies from the planet Filth.
It ate
Well, I
the
personally
entire.
enjoyed seeing the Squire of Gothos back.
It ate the entire cow, yet it only had 3 legs.
Snake!
But I do wish they'd stop inventing brand new uniforms for the crew because that's now 37.
3 in one episode's a bit too much, in my opinion.
No one asked me what my score was, so I'll give it.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna give it a solid 9 out of 10 as a season.
Hang on, you've
opener.
gone
I
up
really
from
enjoyed it.
Friday.
Sorry?
You've revised your score. You gave it an 8 on Friday.
Oh, I was shit-faced on Friday. Yeah. I've actually rewatched it. I rewatched it tonight whilst I was doing. Does anyone want to see what I've been soldering?
Oh, yes.
it's worth looking at.
Is Carol? Carol, are you watching?
Are you there, Carol?
Let's summon her.
Okay, right. She's not watching me.
Which Carol are we talking about? Baskin?
She's got a middle name,
Echo, switch off the lights.
Suddenly, everyone's lights will switch off.
Yeah. Fortunately, I'm a typical Trekkie.
Oh no, it's not working. Oh, here we
Richard
are.
has
Right.
just become a typical
There
Trekkie.
we are.
Ooh.
Oh, yes.
Yes, check out that bad boy, eh? Echo, switch on the lights.
I'm very much enjoying this Star Trek thing.
Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. Whilst waiting to come on the show, I've been soldering that and rewatching the episode so I can reference for tonight's show, which we have now done.
Now can't,
So I mean,
because
we're not going to
obviously
talk about
Dan
it
is-
anymore.
well,
It's okay,
Dan-
Dan, we're done. So, I mean, shall we move on to this week's Wish Clip?
Yes, I can't remember which clip it is. Perhaps you could introduce it, Richard.
Well, this is the one about your screenplay, James.
Yes, this is Sir Patrick discussing his next screenplay.
Your
That's right.
screenplay.
Yeah. Once again,
I'm
no
writing a
expense.
screenplay, and I find the whole process absolutely exhilarating.
What's yours about, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, how best to explain it? You've seen me in X-Men.
Yeah.
The character I am, Professor Charles Xavier. If you remember, he can control things with the power of his mind. He can make people do things and see things. So I thought, what if you can do that for real? I mean, not in a comic book world, but in the real world.
All right.
So in my film, I play a man who controls the world with his mind.
Right. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, for instance, I'm walking along and I see this beautiful girl and I think I'd like to see her naked, and so all her clothes fall off.
All her clothes fall off?
Yes, and she's scrabbling around to get them back on again, but even before she can get her knickers on, I've seen everything. You know, I've seen it all.
Okay. It's a comedy, is it?
No. It's about what would happen, you know, if these things were possible.
What's the story, though? What's the...
Well, I do other stuff, like I'm riding my bike in the park, and this policewoman says, "Oi, you can't ride your bike on the grass," and I go, "Oh no," and her uniform falls off, and she goes, "Ah!" and she's trying to cover up, but I've seen everything. Anyway, and I get on my bike, I ride off. On the grass.
So, it's mainly you sort of go around seeing ladies' tits?
Mainly. And I do other stuff, like I go to the World Cup final, and it's Germany versus England, and I wish that I were playing, and suddenly I am, and I score the winning goal, and they carry me into the dressing room, and there's Rooney and Beckham, and then Posh Spice walks in, and...
Her clothes fall off?
Instantly.
Sure.
And she doesn't know what's happening, but I've seen everything. Again.
Good. Is there a narrative at all? Is there like a story in the film, or is it just...
Well, I'm a sort of James Bond figure.
Right.
And I have to go to Iraq to rescue these hostages. And I get there and I rescue them, but they're all women and they're naked because their clothes have rotted off. But I get them into the helicopter and I'm flying the helicopter, but I can still sneak a look in the mirror and I can see everything. You know, one of them's bending over, two of them are kissing.
They've turned lesbian?
Yeah, because they've been in the camp for so long.
So that's what's known as Patrick Stewart doing the X-rated men.
I tell you what, genuinely, I mean, ever since Patrick Stewart did that episode of Frasier, you know, he does comedy so well. I mean, so well. I saw him and Ian McKellen in Waiting for Godot. And if you don't know the play, it's not, well, it has elements of humour in it, but they deliver the deadpan lines so well. And if you're watching, it's not Trek related, but please do Google the Ian McKellen extras one where he teaches acting. It's the funniest. Honestly, it's the.
You see, I'm not actually a wizard.
No,
I do play a wizard.
Peter Jackson came to me and he said to me, "I want you to play wizard." I said, "What do you do know I'm not a wizard?" He said, "I know you're not a wizard, but what I would like you to do is to pretend to be a wizard for the duration of the film."
The worst thing is though about that is, as a screenwriter, I have actually had producers pitch me ideas that are literally as bad as that, and they think they're literally doing the next Oscar. And I'm absolutely sure I saw that film in the 70s starring Robin Asquith.
Confessions of a Screenwriter.
No, I think more
Confessions
of a mind-controlling despot.
So we used to watch them.
Can I put one quick nerd thing in though? That he can control people's minds. He didn't mention he had telekinesis. So how did the clothes fall off? Failed, Sir Patrick. Failed.
Lack of attention to detail there.
Exactly. This is
I'm not sure it mattered to the narrative.
It's a pretty schoolboy error. I feel that he's let us down.
Is Dan okay? Or was that too much for him? Because he's gone.
Is Dan gone to walk the dog?
Are you still with us, Dan?
The dog may have decided it needed to leave the flat for the moment.
Ah, right.
His connection is still on, but he's
Not
not
the sort
there.
of thing you can just kind of like hold him out the window and be like, right, go on, do your
I
business.
think he was furious that I picked up my dog and showed my dog to the world, and I think he was like, "Well, that's it, I'm done."
I could go and get a child. There's a couple.
I'm still here. I'm just working on something in the background. Sorry, guys. Carry on.
We didn't need to know that, Dan.
Thanks, God.
James has got something he'd like to show us this week.
Have
Which
you
is
got
the
a
next
question about I made this then?
Have we got a thing for that? Have we?
Yes, we do. Oh,
The Starship.
Not it.
Wow,
that's-
that looked very
I don't know what
advanced.
that was.
It is
No, that's Zippy and George. We'll do that at the end.
Oh, Sophie and George,
We'll
brilliant.
do that at the end. We'll do Zippy and
My
George at the
name's
end.
Carbon.
this is great. I particularly love the advanced preparation. That
Well
he's
said,
done.
Christoph.
I don't know. We got. Is this it?
Oh dear Lord, I'd forgotten all about that. Is it that long since I've been on the show?
Here we are. Dear viewer, I did not make that sting.
Genuinely,
Wow,
it's a regular thing. Is this how long it's been?
MacGyver!
Thanks,
So,
Tony.
James has got something he'd like to show you.
So, Richard, I sent you 2 images. I'd like you to show us, first of all, the single image.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
We are nothing if not professional, dear viewer.
I'm working on it. I am working on it. Now, Mr. Ashby.
Yours, Mr. Scott.
Right.
In your own
I've
time.
got to be careful to make sure my browser history is. Hang on.
Christoph, MacGyver, I hate to scare you though. MacGyver was a good 30 years ago now.
Well, we've had this problem before. It's not.
So what we're seeing here is the new total immersion exclusion zone that's available at conventions.
We had this problem last time. It won't share my flipping screen. I'll try once more.
It's
If
going to
not,
be anticlimactic if we can't see the picture.
yeah. Well, hang on a minute. Quick, James,
Was
tell
that
that
the
joke.
cloaked version?
James, tell that joke that you know.
I could talk about my love of
The clown
MacGyver.
can stay, but the Ferengi in the gorilla suit has to go.
I just got it.
While Richard's trying to find this, I'll take a little bit of control of the show here. Tony, would you like to use this opportunity to plug any projects and/or books?
Well, yes. In July, I'm going to be running the Comic Zone at the London Film and Comic Zone again. Well, London Film and Comic Con, I should say. We have some incredible guests. We have Brian Bolland, obviously The Killing Joke and things like that. But we have Miss Claudia Christian coming along to do a signing on the Saturday, actually as a comic creator, for she is now doing her own series of comic books, which is very exciting. So we're doing that. And we should also be launching with luck Agent Mom, which was a book that I did with Elena Huffman like 11 years ago for MTV. We're re-releasing it as the first of my new comics imprint, Caliburn Comics. And we will also be announcing the winner of the Caliburn Prize, which is a £2,500 grant to unpublished UK comic creators. Has that been enough time for Richard?
And
No, okay, let me tell you about the time that I worked with the creator of MacGyver to do a MacGyver comic, and repeatedly had to tell the creator of MacGyver that when he said MacGyver wouldn't do this, I would say he did in episode so-and-so of season so-and-so, because the guy who created MacGyver had never watched an episode of MacGyver.
Right, so the answer is no.
The character then and leave it to screenwriters to write.
Impressively, the person who gave the green light to the new MacGyver series has not seen an episode of the original MacGyver either.
Carl, for some
It's
reason,
quite
it's
obvious as
privacy
well.
settings on my PC. It's the images that he's got in the Let's Talk Trek chat. If you can do it via
Oh,
yours.
good. Right, can you see the 2 images I sent to Richard? There's one that's a double image and one that's a single image.
I can.
Okay, right, let's play the I Made This Thing again because we've lost the impetus here.
Okay, let
Please
me.
play it, because then I get the
quickly,
MacGyver
Carl.
thing again.
Not,
I'm working
not
on
the
it.
image
I'm
I've
working.
just
Ah,
sent,
the
though.
pressure.
That's not the right one, the one I've just sent. Don't put that one up.
That one. Single
right,
image.
there's the picture. Now, this is a photograph.
Can I just check? There's none in the little sort of like scroll at the bottom here that goes against GDPR in any way, shape, or form, is there? I don't know.
Too late now.
Oh well. Here's hoping.
Here's
So
a
this
picture.
looks nice. This
Picture
looks
of
a little
private
bit like my front room. I don't know what your guys' front rooms look like, but
Now look at that. Now show us the other image, Carl. Yes, there it is. There you go. So I found this earlier this week. There's only one problem. It's AI. It's not real.
It's an AI picture, you can tell.
You think that's the only problem? You're not the one who nearly scrolled the wrong way.
Wouldn't that just be gorgeous if that was real?
So can I just confirm, you started off talking about these inclusive areas at conventions, and it turned into, I found an AI computer picture that confused me and made me realize that I had been conned.
No, I made this. Is usually, Tony, a feature where we look at props or sets or things people have made. And I found this picture and I was temporarily very excited until I saw that it wasn't real.
Had you already started working out in your head how you could take the walnut and the mahogany and make your own version?
Yes, isn't it beautiful? Wouldn't you?
If we're going to go off on completely random tangents that don't really have anything to do with what we're talking about, can I do one as well?
Yes.
Hey, right now, Loblaws is having a huge frozen food sale. You can get tremendous value on over 50 frozen food items, frozen vegetables, frozen meat entrees, frozen concentrated juices, ice cream. If it's frozen, you can save plenty. Don't get left out on the cold. Come on in and stock up that freezer. Loblaws frozen food sale. Another reason why more than the price is right. Does he work here?
That's my favourite. I love.
No. Nice try with that image, Richard.
Yes. That's my second favourite we've ever done. My favourite is definitely Sulu's Milwaukee bus rider ticket. That's next level.
There are some classic Wish clips.
Yeah, that's something else. Yeah, we've had some good ones over the years. My second favourite is definitely this one that nearly got us taken off the air, though.
Hello, boys.
Oh, hello, darling. What's your name?
My name's Carmen.
Carmen? Oh, that's a nice name. Yeah, Carmen.
Why do they call you Carmen? 'Cause I like cars and I like men. What's your name?
Lager Fanny. Ha 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 ha.
Now, if you've seen the whole clip, you don't need to see it again. You know what's going to happen.
Honestly, it's like being 12 years old again. I love it.
Being a schoolboy.
So back to Star Trek. We can't talk about Strange New Worlds anymore. We've got some more Trek coming up, though. I believe is Lower Decks. There's new Lower Decks coming out soon. And
Don't
then
forget
we've
the
got
Lower Decks Strange New Worlds crossover.
Yeah, I've heard about that. So, are we guessing time travel or holodeck program? What are we going with?
I think it's got to be. Yeah, I think it's got to be kind of like the whole multiverse bit.
It's going to be multiverse because they're human and not animated.
Yeah,
I think it's
multiverse animated and not human.
You're thinking multiverse, but they're about 300 years, 200 years apart, aren't they?
But they're animated and not human. But these ones are human and not animated.
Okay.
There have been occasions where
how far into the season we have to wait for
time
this?
and space.
Oh, hang on a second. Sorry.
So can everyone just wait a moment?
No, it's all good. It's all good.
That's Tony's agent saying, "I've just seen that Zippy clip. Can you get off that
You're rude."
So
you said this. What are you doing?
He just said, "I know where you live and I can hunt you down." So.
Yeah, if you think about my namesake from one of the Discovery seasons, the Guardian of Forever, that was across dimensions, universes, and time. So yeah, it's happened before. It'll happen again.
I'm going for holodeck.
What is sci-fi? Anything can happen.
For it to be holodeck, it would have to be Lower Decks to Strange New Worlds, not the other way around.
That's exactly what I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be.
You think it's going to be a Lower Decks episode within Strange New Worlds season 2?
Yep. That's what.
Mind you, I suppose they did it with Enterprise finale, didn't they?
We did that with Enterprise, didn't they?
Yeah, it didn't get well received. Maybe they're trying to rectify
that. If I remember rightly, that went down terribly well, didn't it?
But Lower Decks does have
a good idea.
Lower Decks does have a habit of poking fun at Star Trek itself. So I'm wondering if it will be a sort of Enterprise end episode-esque sort of crossover, just in the way,
Or are they going to do like Book of Boba Fett, where they just spend 2 episodes doing the Mandalorian, and in this one we're just going to have a 2-parter Lower Deck episode in the middle of Strange New World because Anson Mount only has a contract to do 4 episodes or something?
Let's just say for absolute hilarity, it'd be brilliant if Jonathan Frakes directs this crossover episode again. After.
And at the end of it, he walks off the holodeck.
Yeah.
So, chaps, we've got Strange New Worlds cross. That's coming up, but in terms of Trek on the plate this year, I believe we do have Lower Decks, and towards the end of the year, we've got Star Trek Discovery coming in for its final hurrah.
I will say, as a screenwriter, we say this, we don't know if this is going to happen because of the writer's strike. Because the WGA writer's strike is affecting so many things, where in 2008, where we had the similar thing, what happened was a lot of shows that had only got their first block done just delayed the year and then came out the following year. You might find this will have a knock-on effect.
You're saying Discovery might be delayed? Oh, no.
It's been wrapped, hasn't it?
Well, if it's been filmed and wrapped, it's fine. But if they can't do, the problem is if they're on strike, then you can't go back in and do post-production. You can't do ADR with new lines. Anything like that is all classed as it. It's not just the filming on the scene and the writing in the room. We're more important than just write monkeys.
So what you're saying is, if they can't go and rewrite any lines and they have to release it in its original version, they may not be able to make it any better.
Kind of like Picard, when they just allowed Patrick Stewart to write it without the.
And I'd just like to make this clear: for a lot of seasons, I was a very big advocate of Discovery.
I mean, you were never convincing, though, were you, Carl? Let's be honest.
I've tried my hardest to be the balancing equation of this group.
Let us never forget Patrick Stewart with the feather hat. Okay, that's all we need.
So
I will say I was a big fan of Discovery until they went to the future, which was one thing they had to do, but at the same time, it kind of I didn't like it after that point. It just didn't work for me.
Just before we came on air, I had a quick look at the Red Shirts Rumours website, which is very good for rumours that never happen. And apparently, talking about Sir Patrick writing, he is pitching and open to doing another movie. He wants to do a send-off film. He said he's not going to do another series. He said, I can't remember what the interview was now. I should probably look it up and force it. But apparently he said, look, I'm not going to do it again. I'm not doing series anymore. I'm kind of a bit tired. I will do Last Hurrah in a film.
News just coming in, boys. Actor says he's willing to do something for money, is what I just heard there.
Well, the thing is, he doesn't need to. This is the thing, isn't it? Unless there's something we don't know. But I personally think he's made the right play there. Done with doing a TV series, do a Last Hurrah as a film.
What will they do? Kill Picard off again?
I was going to say they don't need to do a Last Hurrah film.
Well, they don't need to unless it's going to be brilliant.
Could they have a sting where Data sort of says something along the lines of, "It's going to be like $1,000,001 to do this," and then does it like 3 more times for shits and giggles because the writers couldn't be bothered to do it.
Or they could kill him again and bring him back again.
Could you have a thing where you don't know if he's him or Law? Because that's always good.
If they could somehow, I don't know, intertwine it with Discovery, that'd be good.
So
why would you do that?
Something I thought would be interesting to talk about tonight was about streaming services, and as everyone's here, it might be a good time to natter about it. Have you heard the news that Disney have started to take stuff off Disney Plus? So there's a word they use an actual word for it, I can't remember what it is, but there's two there's 2 Marvel series being removed from the Disney catalog.
They're the Sony ones.
No, they're the first ones that they did. 616, is it?
I mean, if they get rid of She-Hulk, that would crap. So that's fine.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? If you pay for a streaming service and the thing was produced by that studio, not necessarily like Netflix. You understand if they got some of the rights off, but like Disney owned the rights to Disney stuff. Why do they have to delete it? Why can't you just leave it there forever? For, that day.
Because they suddenly realised it was rubbish.
What are they deleting?
Oh, I'll have to find it. You guys know, I'll find the article.
I'd just like to point out that Martin Bend has said Patrick playing Robin Hood, or at least he had the correct accent. Martin is more correct than he realizes there, because Patrick Stewart is actually from Kirklees in West Yorkshire, which is where Robin Hood came from.
Well, Tony, there was one reason you were coming on the show
That's
tonight,
the box.
and you've just.
Oh my lord!
Absolutely
Bombshell
smashed
from
it.
Vicky. Mighty Ducks has gone from Disney.
Is that
So
the
are
new
we
series
saying-
or the movies? Because the movies were good, but the series was really bad.
Is what Dan's saying? Is this akin to the whole thing? If you write to the BBC and ask for like VHS tapes of any episode they've ever done, they have to send you to a license plate. You're saying if you're
VHS.
if you're subscribing to a production company streaming site, they're obligated to put everything they've ever done on that streaming site. Is
No.
that what you mean?
No,
Because I don't think they are. They
No,
should take
Disney
all the
are
old
obligated
chuff
to
off.
put anything on Disney Plus, and when they actually set it up, they don't have to. If Netflix are making a movie, Netflix are obligated to put it on Netflix, but Netflix can then do a streaming deal with a different company. So, for example, that's why you might find that something goes on Netflix. Okay, for example, House of Cards, when it first came out, for example, you could only get it on Netflix. You couldn't get it anywhere else. But then after a while, you could then get it on DVD because they made a separate deal that said after a set time, we can put it on here. You might find that some streaming sites would have a deal that says after a set amount of time, this show will go to a different streaming service. It could be one of their subordinates. It could be.
So there's always, I mean, personally, I love the just balmy factor. There's dickheads that work with these corporations and know what they're doing. And I've experienced that tonight because I've been doing a whole Voyager rewatch with my family. Kids loving it. And we've got to the end of series 5, which is a cliffhanger, the part 1 of the Equinox. And yeah, because I cancelled my Paramount Plus subscription because that app is atrocious. And I subscribed to it through Amazon instead because they deliver it in proper DTS and
the Amazon app is better.
Yeah, much better. But if you want to watch season 6 of Voyager on Amazon Prime, you have to buy it. You have to pay for it. So I checked, and yeah, it's not available on the Discovery app, like season 6 of Voyager. But you can go on Netflix and watch it for free. But apparently Discovery Plus is the home of Star Trek. What, this is clearly just some dickhead's got it wrong. There's no logical reason this has happened.
I found the article. It says that Disney, as of this week, are removing certain items from their catalogs available for streaming, including Willow, Dollface, Why the Last Man, Marvel's Hero Project, Empower, The World According to Jeff
Willow
Gold.
the TV series or Willow the movie?
Willow TV series.
That's okay.
That was really bad, to be fair.
That was the situation where they've removed it so they can go to terrestrial TV. They'll get some. They haven't got. They need to get their residuals. They're not getting enough from that. They'll have to pay them out if they're on the channel. But if they go to say ITV or to someone like that, it could be gone to that one.
Absolutely agree there, Vicky. Willow could have been amazing.
I don't know. I think it should. It's one of those ones that I think they should have just left alone.
But yeah, the reason I bring up
In
this
this
whole
day
thing
and
about,
age, they were never going to.
the whole reason I bring up this thing about the streaming service removing stuff is, could we get to a stage where, for instance, P Plus, you'll log onto it one day, Star Trek's gone.
Oh yeah,
it's not a given there; it will always be there.
Well,
Does that make sense?
Paramount Plus is meant to be the home of Star Trek, and there's so much Star Trek missing from it. There's
It's the
certain
same-
films aren't
yeah.
on there.
As a Doctor Who fan, I watched everybody lose their minds when BritBox had all of Doctor Who and then lost it all because it all went across to Disney.
Yeah.
But even Disney doesn't have it all because iPlayer has some and somebody else has some, and it will always get bounced around. I mean, there's a big thing about the fact that everybody's now moving into this world where I stream and all my stuff is on streaming, so I don't need to have physical media anymore. But the moment that show disappears, you either have to go and buy the physical media or you have to pirate it. So, you shouldn't just rely on streaming services. You still got to get your DVDs.
So surely this is where the world of Amazon actually comes into play, because not only can you stream stuff they've got a license for, but you can actually buy stuff and rent stuff as well. If you purchase it, you've got it for the life that it's on their server.
Yeah, there's a few of the streaming
stays there.
A few of the services, they call it kind of buy for life, and I think Google Play do that. You can buy it and you've got access to it. Well, unless Google goes bankrupt, it could happen. This is the thing, isn't it? Unless you've physically got the thing in your hand.
And that's it. As much as everyone says streaming services are the future, unless you've got the physical media in your possession, at some point it may be taken away.
I mean, Tony brings an interesting point on this, but if we went around the table and asked, when was the last time you physically bought some media, be it either a Blu-ray, D-Ray, DVD, or a CD, you know, for listening to music that wasn't an MP3 or something stupid like that?
I've literally been buying a lot of stuff, but I've been buying vinyl because I'm going retro again. I would not have bought some of this stuff if I hadn't been. I mean, I've not gone and looked for the CD. What is that? Is that Magnum here? Oh, right, okay, yes.
I mean,
Carl and I both got these from the sale of the personal estate of René Auberjonois.
I don't think you are able to physically buy a car in the UK anymore that has a CD player.
Mine has one.
Anymore?
New car, no.
Well, you didn't say new.
No, you're absolutely right. The only media that is still selling great in physical media is books.
Wait a minute. So
And that's why I wangled this beauty up at the camera.
They're wrong.
Comic books and books, for me personally, the last one I bought, well, okay, yes, this masterpiece, but regularly that I buy media is comic books. There's nothing else I regularly buy physically to have in my hand other than comic books. I mean, I for example, I subscribed to Marvel Unlimited for a while to read my comics on, and I enjoyed it. It's not the same as having the real thing, of course not. And I tried the DC equivalent, which wasn't as good. And to be fair, it might just be DC, but I was halfway through reading it. And exactly as Tony said, I went back because my kind of routine is I go to the gym. My gym's got Starbucks, which is great. And I go to the gym and I have a Starbucks, sit down, and I get out my iPad and I go to read it. And they're taking it off, literally with no bloody warning on the DC app. And it was like, really? Come on, I'm halfway through that.
I'm more stunned by the fact you only go to the gym to sit in Starbucks.
Yeah, so I go to the gym and I look at the equipment, and then I go to the sauna and the steam room and I look at other things. And I've seen everything. You know, I've seen a lot. And they're all trying to cover up, but it's too late, I've seen it all. And then I have a shower.
What TV have you got stuck in your car?
It's almost as if, Richard, you go to the steam room and just as if by magic, all their clothes fall off.
Honestly, the other day I was in there, it was terrible, really, because I'm in the steam room and I'm
then
thinking...
he went to Starbucks afterwards and
I've got to wait.
Everyone in the coffee shop, all their clothes just fell off.
Well, there were so many things that I wanted to see and there was too much steam. So I'm waiting for because it goes in a cycle. I'm waiting for the steam to go down.
Yeah, anyone coming in here on the cold and seeing the optics of 5 white guys listening to Richard talk about how he wants to see women in their thongs in the steam room.
Yeah,
so I'm waiting. Market, I think people are going to care that much.
And I'm sat in the steam room for so long, I'm waiting for the steam to go down that I've got too hot. Like I'm like going a bit funny now. So when I eventually walked out, you know, when you see spots in front of your eyes, I'm like, whoa.
No, weirdly, I've got a friend who goes to your gym and she was in the steam room and she had this weird experience where a random guy walked into their steam room, stared randomly at them for like 5 minutes, went very red, waved his arms around and then passed out.
So I had to go for a Starbucks afterwards for a chai.
It's the cinnamon. Apparently, it balances your blood sugars back out.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
So going back to what I was saying about physical media, let's
please, God, please.
Yes.
I mean, I'm quite a technological person, and I don't have a single thing in my house that would take a physical disc. Not a thing. Nothing. iMac is digital. My MacBook, I've got a drive. iPad. Even my TV, like, you know, if you get a Sky dish now, if you subscribe to, you know, Sky or Virgin, whatever your TV subscription package is, that's now done via an internet connection. The new one.
Are you telling me, Mr. Mason, that glorious gift I bought you for Christmas a couple of years ago has never been used?
Oh, it has, but that's
as a coaster.
He wipes it against himself.
But no, it's one of those. We are sort of losing touch with the physical side, you know. It's one of those. It just strikes me as a bit of the fact that, you know, your series can just vanish.
This is the thing, though. I mean, I don't want to sound like the old white guy here, but there's an element of tactileness and order to the older stuff. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, is I'm 52. I've gone back into getting vinyl because I like the aspect of you put it on, it plays the album. I've got friends who are younger than me who have never listened to the album in the right order. They just whack it on Spotify, or they just have it a playlist that has all the songs from that album, but just randomly done. In my mind, every time I hear a song and I've had that album, I know the song that comes before it and the song that comes after it. I know the order it must be. And I always remember that. And it kind of shapes me as a person in the way I work. But nowadays, you like a song, you buy the song, boom, it's on your computer. You don't have to go and get the song, open the song. You don't get B-sides anymore, things like that. All these things have completely changed.
And there are certain albums that are meant to be listened to in an order as well.
Yeah.
You know,
but that
Great Gig in the Sky. There's a great example. You know.
And again, it's a similar thing because that's the same with the TV series. Bringing it back onto, say, Star Trek and things like that. There's a reason why Firefly, Joss Whedon's Firefly, didn't work. It's because you had to watch it in the order, and the television network went, we don't like that episode. We're going to start with this one because, to quote a thing earlier on, the episode you want to start your show with is filler. And they changed the way it worked. And because of that, you didn't know who some of the characters were, and it altered the way it was, and it got cancelled after a season.
Oh, Firefly was awesome, wasn't it? 20 years ago now.
I know.
I didn't like it.
Well, you're wrong, Richard. You're wrong.
Okay, so let's just have a quick look through the comments. Vicky is sucking up to Tony. Books are better than ebooks.
We like Vicky at the moment. Vicky has actually helped us being one of the, as well as Richard did, as being one of the long list judges of the Caliburn Prize. So thank you, Vicky.
You're welcome.
Go on then. While you're here, Tony, what is this prize and how can people enter it and or win it?
Well, we did it already. I spoke about it earlier on. It's finished. It ended this year. The judges are now going through it. It's been announced in 3 weeks at London Film and Comic Con. It was an award for unpublished UK creators. And
as a judge, I'd like to just quickly weigh in and say that there were some really, really good entries, and especially a couple of them had so much potential. It was a genuine honour to read them. They were fantastic.
And I'm glad you think that. Only one will win, and the rest will live in hatred for the rest of their lives, which is how comics should be, to be perfectly honest. Oh my God, Jason, no.
Look, physical
Riker's Beard edition of John Barrowman. What?
I don't like the way you use the definition physical media there.
John Barrowman DVDs and CDs just keep turning up at my house.
I wonder why.
I always felt they missed a trick with the Enterprise. Looking at the one that's behind Dan, I always remember as a kid, I really wanted to have an Enterprise that you could put a CD into the front of, because it was basically big enough to be like one of those, the CD players you could carry around with you. You could take them and put them in the top of an Enterprise, so you could actually literally have a little cable at the back of the Enterprise. You could plug it into the front of it. It goes into the front of the Enterprise, and then you play your Star Trek. I would have thought.
I too remember having an 8-inch floppy. Back in the day, the first Legend of Zelda game came on. It was about 16 8-inch floppies that you had to put in to feed in one at a time into your. You remember them?
So many jokes.
They did do a Defiant CD player, like you're saying, Tony.
Really?
They did do a Defiant CD player. I've seen that on eBay a couple of times. Yeah.
Oh. It's very, very hard to get
more annoying when you got partway through a game and it was like, please insert disc 3 of 17. And you're like, really?
Tony's now Googling Defiant CD player.
Apologies.
I am.
Did anyone else? Well,
all they've done is they've taken the thing I was on about, the little strappy thing you'd always have, and just stuck some wings on it.
Well, this is coming to my mind. So
We didn't say it was any good, Tony. We just said it existed.
This is coming to my mind. The latest edition of the Grand Tour. But did anyone else have on 8-inch floppy The Great Escape? And if so, did they ever manage to escape?
I did.
I never got to disc 9. I lost the will.
But I had it on Spectrum, so I had it on audio cassette tape, which meant we didn't have to be doing your crappy.
That's when you'd load it up you put it on to load, go and have your tea, come back,
yeah.
and then
The ZX
and find out it's
Spectrum,
failed.
loved it.
Yeah.
What do we have? Manic Miner, Chucky Egg, all that sort of game.
Oh, Chucky
Just a quick
Egg.
one.
now you're
If
talking.
by any rare chance James Martin is watching, Tony did not just say that your design for the Defiant was just a CD player with some wings stuck on it. Okay, I'm just gonna
It's a
clarify.
CD player with some wings, but I've already just ordered one on eBay.
Horace versus the Spiders.
£156.03 plus postage. So.
Horace goes skiing.
Jet Set Willy. Oh, Horace Goes Skiing. Yeah, great show.
Cooey.
Oh, hello, Mike. Hang on, what time is it?
10 o'clock.
Oh, it's all right. He finished work 30 seconds ago. It's all good.
Oh, he's one of your minions, is he?
He is. He's one of my supervisors.
Well, he
So
supervises you.
that
and you
inevitably
supervise him.
means that there are other members of my team watching as well. Good evening, chaps. I hope you've done well since I finished.
Well, do join us in the comments.
If we're talking Spectrum games, by the way,
Here's another one of my minions. Yes, come along. I have a plethora of minions.
if we're talking
Ah,
Spectrum
another
games,
one. There we go.
Andrew has just given me the nightmare that I have every single week made flesh there. Try having your external hard drive delete your main folder on it while you're inside of the same folder working.
Oh dear.
Every time I do a project, any of my books I'm writing, I have them on my external drive, I have them on iCloud, I have them on Dropbox, I have
another one.
I'm too scared not to.
yeah, if we're talking Spectrum games, Daley Thompson's Decathlon.
Oh yeah.
Or how to
Keyboard
break your
killer.
computer. One easy go.
The keyboard killer.
I used to use a lighter to whack between the keys. Not that I smoke. That's bad for you children. Yes.
Chucky
You
Egg,
know
yeah.
you can play
Well,
every
too.
single Amstrad, Spectrum, and Commodore 64 games online. There are sites now you can just go on and play them.
It's true.
I've looked at them for research purposes, not to procrastinate when I don't want to do deadlines.
Joe, the best one for avoiding a deadline. Go back and play Monkey Island. Oh, Monkey Island. Or even better, if you've had a few beers, Leisure Suit Larry. Who remembers Leisure Suit Larry? Oh, mate, Leisure Suit Larry. That was the one.
Oh, Chris.
So
remembers Chucky
my
Egg.
brother, Kevin, was one of the first computer engineers in the UK. Worked for Thorn EMI at the time. He created his own computer like 5 years before like ZX81s, ZX80s turned up, and they spent months writing machine code that made the first ever Star Trek game. And I don't know if you ever played it, but it was the worst thing ever. And it was literally like, go forward, go forward, go forward. Klingon, fire, go forward. But in our
Was it one
mind,
of the text-based
we were like
games?
that. We were like that, like Maxwell video, where we would sit in a chair, going, "Oh my god, warp speed, hair flying back." Go forward.
I remember when I was first learning to code on computers, it was on a ZX Spectrum. And I remember one of the first things I did.
Sorry,
was-
that's Carl.
No, bottom right is Tony.
Oh, goodness me, yes, sorry.
Yeah, I remember one of the first things I learned how to program graphics was a binary USS Excelsior, and I had to do it in quarters, and each quarter was split into 8 pixels by 8 pixels, and I had to tell it exactly how to draw this USS Excelsior. It took me nearly 2 weeks of planning to be able to draw the bugger on screen about the age
The
of
best
10
thing is
when I
back
was
then when
learning.
you used to program, you used to write. You generally did. You used to write the code by hand. That's
Yeah.
what you would do. You'd write the code by hand
Oh, it
and
was
then
a
program
nightmare.
it.
but it was
Diary
so
of a
much
Lincoln
fun.
Geek. I'm not familiar to you. When you wake up at night and see me at the end of your bed, you're just dreaming.
It's in.
And he wasn't holding a hanky.
You look at all of us. It's like 5 middle-aged men.
Yeah.
There is, and we're reminiscing about
Who's
how.
the odd one out? Me. Why? I don't have a beard.
And we're talking about how it
My
is
beard
that,
is rich.
Don't worry, Tony. We can fix that in post-production.
isn't it just fascinating that we're talking about how we can remember like binary games or word games, and what we've got now, how the progress is.
Here's a scary thing. I learned this a couple of years back. Genuine fact. Who played Elite back in the day?
Oh yes.
Remember the game Elite?
On the
The
BBC.
Game Elite. If you Google the Game Elite, you'll get a little JPEG of what the game's logo was. That JPEG is bigger than the game was in memory size.
Right.
The image of Elite is bigger in total than the game
I'm
was.
going to see your Elite, and I'm going to raise you on the BBC computer they used to wheel into your classroom, Granny's
Oh.
Garden.
Hey, that BBC computer, I did my computer course on it.
Who remembers Granny's
That white
Garden?
one that was like this big.
There is
beige one.
There is a Facebook group with people who are competing to see what the most low-powered thing you can play Doom on is at the moment.
Ooh, I did play that on a black and white monitor.
Now, at the moment, the winning one I've seen at the moment is someone's hacked one of the price tags from Aldi, which has got enough computing power to run Doom. So,
Oh dear.
Oh, Diary of a Lincoln
Which one
Geek.
are you
Yes,
playing
I
this?
run the comic zone of the London Film and Comic Con. But I don't really organise conventions, but I do usually turn up to them.
Tony is conventions. He's the face of all the important conventions. Tony's face is on the front of them. He's that important.
Big picture on all of them. Number one, New York Times best-selling writer and convention. Tony Lee. Tony Con.
Pretty much, yeah. Described it perfectly. You even came to a RikerCon one year. Marvellous.
I did. I would
Which
have.
we're very sad about. I
Make that
think we
weekend.
talked about this on the show before. Sadly, the hotel is no more now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's gone. So, if we
very
want to have a
much enjoyed
RikerCon next year, we've got to really have a think about how we're going to do it because we don't have a hotel anymore.
apparently, a best-selling author bought it and turned it into apartments.
Bistro, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were nasty to me, so they deserved it.
Well, you could always come. I've got a pub that I can sort of like spare.
Could we
But
put
it's in the
some
north.
glamping pods in the garden or something?
In fairness, Carl, where
Fairly
is
big
your
car
pub based?
park. I'm sure I could coordinate off and organise something.
Carl,
if
where
needs
is,
be.
where is your pub based?
It's about 20 minutes south of Manchester.
Okay. Oh, that's not as north as I thought it was. I was going to say, because my best
We're this side of the
conventions-
wall, don't worry.
The best conventions I ever did were in the 90s. I was a member of 10 Forward, the Next Generation fan club. And they would have small conventions in basically the guy who ran its house. And it was up in Rotherham. So, we'd often go to Rotherham to sit in a house for a weekend and just be dressed in Star Trek uniforms and just hang out. And they were the best conventions I ever did.
I've got to be honest with you, I have got quite a big house, but my family lives here, so it's not happening here.
Well,
But
that's
they're
fine.
the
My
most
family lives here as well.
You
but
made them
they're-
watch Voyager.
I
They're
think
a
Carl. Sorry.
I was going to say, should we call it a day because of the stream because the time's getting on? And
Oh,
I just wanted
goodness
to
me.
chat-
When you're
I'll
having
just
so
chat
much
to
fun,
you off stream as well before I have 5 of you off stream.
please, everybody that's watched the show tonight, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to talk about Strange New Worlds and Star Trek in general. We really appreciate it.
And
Wasn't it
retro
wonderful to see the
computing.
Trekkie girls on air for the first time in a while last Friday night? And weren't they brilliant? They're so much more professional than we are.
Bookended
they-
by a hunky sandwich.
Yeah, but I would like to raise one quick issue about their broadcast. In particular, I'd like to speak about Carol. There was just far too much attention given to Anson Mount. I'm feeling a bit down about that.
Have you got Anson Mount envy?
I feel
I've
I've
got-
got a
I've got
rewatch
Anson Mount.
thing to happen.
All men have Anson Mount envy.
I met
I
Anson
don't
Mount.
think I'm working on it.
I met him in the toilet in Birmingham, and he gave me his DNA.
I was going to say, here comes the DNA story.
No, I was hosting that panel, and Ethan Peck and Anson Mount walked on that stage to say hello, and there was a moment, and I'm a red-blooded cis man, and I was just like, I literally lost my breath for a second. Those two men walked out, and it was like, okay, I get why all the women are now fainting in the front row. They have that kind of film star thing to them.
And on that bombshell, we'll see you next
Anson
week.
Mount.
Bye, everybody.
No.
Don't have nightmares.
Look after
At the end of your
yourselves.
bed, you smell different when you're sleeping.
Look after yourselves and each other. And remember, if you wake up in the night and you see Tony at the foot of your bed holding a hanky,
You're dreaming. It's a
Not Tony.
dream.
It's not real.
There's no ether in that hanky at all. Good night.
Has anyone actually pressed end broad